Welcome, Spicy Lady. Some girls are raised by love. Others are raised by war. Pause for a moment and really let that sink in. Because what happens when a little girl grows up surrounded not by bedtime stories and hugs, but by chaos, betrayal, and emotional landmines? Here's a brutal fact most people can't stomach. Psychologists say that children raised in unstable homes often develop hyperindependence, emotional detachment, and a deep distrust of human connection. But what they don't tell you is that some of these girls don't just survive it, they transform into something else entirely. They don't grow up chasing validation, popularity, or the perfect Instagram life. They grow up walking alone, uninterested in applause, untouched by peer pressure, and immune to society's shallow rules. These are the spicy lady sigmas, the lone wolves of the female world. And unlike the typical strong independent woman cliche that Netflix keeps selling you, these women didn't read a self-help book to become this way. They were forced to become it by brutal childhoods no child should ever endure so today. We're not talking about fairy tale heroines or TikTok girl bosses. We're diving into the dark blueprint that turns an innocent girl into an unstoppable spicy lady sigma, a woman who walks through fire and never lets you see her burn. And if you think you've heard this before, trust me, you haven't. This isn't your usual pep talk. This is the ugly, uncomfortable truth. And somehow it's beautiful. Let's begin point one. They stop expecting rescue, so they become their own savior. Growing up, most girls are taught that if life gets hard, someone will eventually come to help. But brutal childhoods rip that fantasy apart fast. Spicy Lady Sigmas didn't get a safety net. They waited for someone to notice their pain and rescue them, but no one came. Eventually, the waiting stops. Not because they've been saved, but because they realize the truth. No one's coming. So they stop crying for help and start helping themselves. They stop looking at the door, hoping it opens, and start building their own exit. They become their own protector, their own guide, and their own savior. This is where the spicy Lady Sigma is born, not from empowerment seminars, but from survival. She picked up her own sword, built her own armor, and learned to fight battles most people couldn't imagine. Because she rescued herself, she no longer depends on anyone else to complete her. That's why she stays so calm under pressure. She's already faced worse. Point two. They learned to read human darkness, not words. Words were cheap in their childhood. They were weapons, distractions, or outright lies. So Spicy Lady Sigma stopped trusting what people said and started watching what they didn't say. The tension in the voice. The fake smile that didn't reach the eyes, the hesitation before a promise. While other kids were learning bedtime stories, they were learning how to read human darkness. It became instinct. Today, a spicy Lady Sigma can walk into a room and instantly sense who's pretending, who's dangerous, and who's weak. She reads patterns, not promises. And when your words don't match your soul, she quietly steps away long before you notice she's gone. Point three. Love was a transaction, not a gift. In brutal childhoods, love had to be earned. Behave perfectly, hide your feelings, meet impossible expectations, and maybe you'd get a crumb of affection. Spicy Lady Sigmas eventually stopped playing that game. They learned to live without love rather than chase conditional affection. As adults, they don't see love as something they need to survive. It's a bonus, not the foundation. If love feels like control or a leash, they cut it without hesitation. They'd rather be alone and at peace than loved and controlled. Point four. Trust was a loaded gun pointed at their head. The people they trusted most were often the first to betray them. So they stopped handing out trust like candy. They built strong walls and learned to watch patterns instead of believing words. Spicy Lady Sigmas give trust cautiously and strategically. No one gets the full key. This isn't coldness, it's wisdom. They stay steady because they never expected much to begin with. Point five. They became the ghosts in every room, present but unreachable. Even when you're close to a spicy Lady Sigma, you can feel that a part of her remains hidden. She's learned that fully exposing her soul gives others the power to crush it. So she lets people see only what she chooses to reveal. She can be warm, laughing, and engaged, yet emotionally untouchable. This is her quiet power and final shield. 6. They treat attachment like a poison they've been cured of. They detach to survive. Spicy Lady Sigmas can love deeply and fiercely, but without desperate clinging or sticky attachment. If you leave, you leave. They don't tie their peace or identity to anyone else. They learn the hard way that the only person they cannot afford to lose is themselves. Point 7. Their self-worth was built without witnesses. No applause, no validation, no I'm proud of you. They learned to build themselves up in complete silence. That's why compliments don't inflate them and criticism doesn't destroy them. Their confidence is quiet, steady, and not for sale. Point 8. They saw love with strings attached, so they cut the strings first. They scan every offer of love for hidden conditions and manipulation. Love without freedom is just a prettier cage to them. They'll love, but only while they can breathe freely. The moment it becomes ownership, they leave quietly and without drama. Point 9. They don't need to be the alpha because they've outgrown the pack. They stepped outside the social games, hierarchies, and power struggles entirely. Walking alone isn't failure, it's evolution. Spicy Lady Sigmas replace status with solitude, popularity with peace, and control with freedom. Point 10. Their childhood dreams were mocked, so they built secret empires. They stopped sharing their dreams and started building them in silence. While others broadcast plans for validation, Spicy Lady Sigmas laid bricks where no one could see. Their success often seems to appear out of nowhere because they never needed permission or applause to build. Point 11. They saw adults as weak, not wise. Their illusions about authority were shattered early. They stopped idolizing adults and started questioning everything. Spicy Lady Sigmas became their own authority, building their own moral code based on truth and experience rather than titles or age. Point 12. They developed emotional X-ray vision. Pain forced them to master reading micro-expressions, energy, and hidden motives. They see through masks, manipulation, and false kindness with ease. This protects their energy and allows them to connect only with what is real. What turns a girl into a Spicy Lady Sigma isn't a feel-good trend. It's pain, betrayal, and the harsh lessons of a childhood that tried to break her. She didn't choose this path because it was trendy. She chose it because it was necessary that she's self-made, self-saved, and untouchable unless she chooses to let you in. And that choice is rare because she's no longer looking for a savior. She already found one in herself.